Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO set to launch BlueBird Block 2 mission aboard LVM-3 launch vehicle from Sriharikota at 8:55 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Major boost to India's air defence capability. DRDO completes successful trial of next-generation Akash missile system, paving the way for its induction into the armed forces. Bangladesh remains on edge with continuous violence and protests. India calls in Bangladesh High Commissioner in Delhi, while US lawmakers urge UNIS-led government to conduct free and fair polls. Tensions between US and Venezuela escalate as both nations justify their actions at the coast. US reiterates threat to impose and enforce sanctions to the maximum extent. And in cricket, India beat Sri Lanka again by 7 wickets in the second women's T20 to take 2-0 lead. The Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO is set to launch the LVM-3 M6 rocket carrying a next-generation US communication satellite BlueBird Block 2 mission from its spaceport in Sriharikota at 8:54 Indian Standard Time. This mission marks the 6th operational flight of LVM-3. LVM-3, developed by ISRO, is a 3-stage launch vehicle comprising 2 solid strap-on motors, a liquid core stage and a cryogenic upper stage. It has a lift-off mass of 640 tons, a height of 43.5 meters and a payload capability of 4,200 kgs to geosynchronous transfer orbit. In this mission, LVM-3 M6 will place the BlueBird Block 2 satellite into the low Earth orbit and is the largest commercial communications satellite to be deployed in low Earth orbit. It will also be the heaviest payload to be launched by LVM-3 from Indian soil. In its earlier missions, LVM-3 successfully launched Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and 2 OneWeb missions carrying 72 satellites. The previous launch of LVM-3 was the LVM-3 M5 CMS-03 mission that was successfully accomplished on November 2nd this year. And our correspondent covering the launch, Vinod Chandran, joins us from Sriharikota now. Good morning, Vinod. BlueBird is a next-generation communication satellite designed to provide space-based cellular broadband connectivity directly to standard mobile smartphones. So explain to us how this will enrich the Indian consumer's experience.
Good morning, Taneja. The ISRO is all set to launch its LVM-3 M6 satellite carrying the BlueBird Block 2 satellite into the lower Earth orbit. The BlueBird satellite is about providing direct-to-mobile connectivity. So in this mission, for cellular broadband connectivity, there will not be any need for any special hardware or network apparatus in the ground. So this ensures that the 4G and the 5G voice calls and the video calls will be very seamlessly translated to the customers in a very fast manner. And this is the main purpose of this mission. And it ensures that people are connected everywhere and everyone is also connected in the network.
Okay. Are there any other commercial or scientific capabilities that BlueBird will provide?
As we have already said that BlueBird is about providing the broadband, space-based cellular broadband network. Now it ensures that the hitherto uncovered areas such as oceans, deserts, and the people who are carrying out the deep sea missions, they will all be seamlessly connected with the cellular network. And this is one of the scientific capabilities for this mission.
Okay, BlueBird will also be the heaviest payload launched by LVM-3 from Indian soil. What is the significance of the launch of this heavier than ever before payload?
The before payload was, which was carried on in the month of November, was LVM M5, that is CMS-03. It was the largest communication satellite before launched, to be launched before this satellite. It was weighing around 4,100 kg. The mission of the CMS-03 was to provide seamless connectivity in the Indian subcontinent.
All right, today's launch, Vinod, will be part of commercial agreement signed between New Space India Limited, the commercial arm of ISRO, and US-based AST Space Mobile. What does the launch mean for ISRO's and New Space India's commercial ambitions together?
The launch will mark a significant milestone in India's space program about launching commercial satellites deployment. It will not only, already LVM-3 has demonstrated its capability in various critical scientific missions like Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3. And this launch will solidify the position of ISRO in the space arena in the world.
Okay, we are all standing by for the launch with our fingers crossed. We'll come back to you, Vinodji, in just a few minutes from now. As the clock will near towards 9 a.m. We look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you very much, Vinod Chandran, joining us from Sriharikota. All right, India has successfully conducted user evaluation trials of Akash next generation called Akash NG air defense missile system, paving the way for its induction into the Indian Armed Forces. The success has added another feather to the country's indigenous defense capabilities. The trials, conducted at the Integrated Test Range in Odisha's Chandipur, showcased the system's ability to intercept high-speed aerial targets at very low altitudes. The Akash NG missile system is a state-of-the-art air defense system developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization and produced by Bharat Dynamics Limited. The Akash NG missile system consists of several advanced features, including an indigenous radio frequency seeker, dual pulse solid rocket motor, and a fully homegrown radar and command control and communication system. These features enable the system to detect and engage high-speed, low-altitude and long-range, high-altitude targets with high precision. The Akash NG missile system has showcased impressive operational capabilities, including the ability to engage up to 10 targets simultaneously with a firing rate of 1 missile every 10 seconds. The system can also be deployed in various configurations, including mobile and fixed installations, making it an effective defense system against diverse aerial threats. The Indian Coast Guard inducted its first pollution control vessel, PCV Samudra Pratap, under the 2 PCV project at Goa. The induction marks a major milestone in strengthening India's maritime pollution response and self-reliance in defense manufacturing. Indigenously designed, built and equipped with advanced weapons, pollution response systems, dynamic positioning and firefighting capabilities, Samudra Pratap has over 60% indigenous content, enhancing pollution control, maritime law enforcement, search and rescue, and exclusive economic zone protection. More from Asia. Bangladesh remains on edge following a spate of violent incidents, including the lynching of a Hindu man in Mymensingh recently. The developments have triggered protests in India and around the world, intensified political sparring and raised fresh concerns over law and order as Bangladesh heads to a crucial election in February next year.
On Tuesday, Inqilab Moncho, one of the prominent platforms that emerged during Bangladesh's July uprising, held a protest rally in Dhaka over the killing of its convener, Osman Hadi, at Shahabag. The group demanded that those responsible be brought to justice before the 13th national election and the proposed referendum, warning that impunity would undermine the democratic process. Bangladesh Nationalist Party blamed the Yunus-led interim government for deteriorating law and order situation in the country. Addressing a press briefing, BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir alleged that dangerous conspiracies by certain quarters are obstructing the path to free and fair elections. Minorities in Bangladesh are poor victims of this unrest. In their support, protests were held in different parts of India. In the national capital, members of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad staged a protest outside the Bangladesh High Commission, while in Kolkata, hundreds of demonstrators marched towards the Bangladesh Deputy High Commission, condemning the violence and demanding accountability.
We've seen demonstrations against the Bangladesh High Commission this morning also, 2 days ago also, and also demonstrations against the Deputy High Commissioner of Bangladesh office in Calcutta and also in Bhopal and other places. So it is a very difficult situation because all this time, we kept taking it up with the Bangladesh people, we kept telling them, but they would not actually, do anything about it. So now it's like, a very, very strong and powerful reaction.
With political tensions rising, street protests intensifying, and concerns mounting over security of minorities, Bangladesh's fragile transition is facing its toughest test yet, even as the clock ticks towards elections. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, amid the growing unrest in Bangladesh, India called in Bangladesh High Commissioner Riaz Hamidullah to express grave concerns over a series of incidents targeting Indians and diplomatic missions. This is the second time the Bangladeshi envoy to India, Hamidullah, was called in by the Indian government amid tense ties between the two countries following violent anti-India protests in several parts of Bangladesh. Also, US lawmakers expressed concern amid the crisis in Bangladesh and wrote to Muhammad Yunus to reconsider the decision to fully suspend the activity of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, stating the findings of the Department of State that the 2018 and 2024 elections in Bangladesh were not free and fair. The lawmakers said that if one party gets banned, the next election will also be not free. And Naval Sangh Parmar, our correspondent from Dhaka, joins us on the show now. Naval Sangh, as the US has dialed the Yunus-led government and asked for lifting the ban on Sheikh Hasina's Awami League party, how has Dhaka responded?
Well,
Naval Sangh, if you can hear me, US
well,
is...
yes, I can hear you. I hear your question. Actually, yesterday night, there was a surprising development here in Bangladesh that the Nahid Islam, one of the prominent student leader and now the convener of the National Citizenship Party, Citizens Party, that is the student-led political party, and that party was responsible, that the group of students and Nahid Islam and his friend were responsible to navigate the anti-Hasina or quota movement here in Bangladesh, and then after the Hasina government toppled. And the Nahid Islam made a statement yesterday, and it is there in Bangladeshi media, that Awami League activists, we should protect their electoral right. Means it is the indication that the citizenship party has changed its stand, and that is the indication regarding the lifting of ban on Awami League. Earlier, he accused that the main political parties in Bangladesh, like BNP and Jamaat-e-Islami. Other than Awami League, there are other two
Yes.
parties which are fighting each other. And he accused that both the political parties, Jamaat and BNP, are fighting to harness the Awami League vote. Because if Awami League is not contesting the election, then the Awami League is the biggest political party in Bangladesh, and they have a big vote share in Bangladesh. So these both parties are fighting for the Awami League vote. And in the evening, he made a statement that the activists of Awami League or Karyakartas or voter of Awami League should their voting rights or political rights should be protected, and that is the indication toward the change in the what we can say stand of the Nahid Islam and his political party, which is the National Citizen Party, and it is the party who is having a backing, or the people are saying here in Bangladesh, it is a UNO-sponsored political party. So it seems that there is some sort of pressure from the international player on UNOS that you lift the ban on Awami League, and Awami League so it can contest the election, next general election in Bangladesh, which is scheduled in February 2026.
Okay, India meanwhile has raised concerns over the safety of minorities in Bangladesh, the security of diplomatic missions. Has anybody responded to these protests throughout India from the Bangladesh administration?
Yesterday there was even meeting visits of a delegation from of Bangladesh government advisor of Yunus administration, education advisor, along with many civil society leaders. They visited the village of the Hindu youth who has been lynched, Dipu Chandra Das, and they gave assurance to his family members, his parents and his wife, that they will take every possible action to give justice to the Dipu Chandra Das, as well as they mentioned that they will take the responsibility of his family. So this is the positive development here in Bangladesh after the protest internationally against the mob lynching in Bangladesh of Hindu youth. And the second thing, earlier, 2 days back, there was a arrest of 12 to 15 people by the Bangladesh police in connection with the mob lynching of Dipu Chandra Das.
Okay, coming back to your answer to the first question that I asked about, NCP's Nahid Islam now acknowledging the fact that the elections have to be free and fair. Do you think Nahid Islam's approach will convince the Bangladesh young population that the elections, in order to be free and fair, would have to include the biggest party, the Awami League?
Actually, for the free and fair election without participation of the major political party like Awami League will not be accepted for the those who are the champions of the democracy. But those who wish to have a puppet government, for them it will be a free and fair election. Otherwise, without a major political party like Awami League, if you ban a political party and then you conduct a free and fair election, no one can say it is a participatory election. It is not good for the democracy. So now the kind of pressure have been built on the Yunus administration, and Nahid Islam is one of the closest person to Dr. Yunus. So there is possibility that some positive development in this direction will come.
Okay. Thank you very much, Naval Singh Parmar, for joining us with the latest update from the political and the general sentiment in Dhaka, Bangladesh. You're watching DD India Newshour. Still to come on the show. US Supreme Court blocks National Guard deployment in Chicago in a rare High Court defeat for Donald Trump. Libya's Chief of Army Staff killed in a plane crash in Turkey. And Bolivian miners marched to the capital to restore fuel subsidies.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work
and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Venezuela's parliament on Tuesday approved a measure that criminalizes a broad range of activities that can hinder navigation and commerce in the country, such as the seizure of oil tankers. The bill, introduced, debated and approved within 2 days in the National Assembly, follows this month's seizures by US forces of 2 tankers carrying Venezuelan oil in the international waters. The bill calls for fines and prison sentences of up to 20 years for anyone who promotes, requests, supports, finances or participates in acts of piracy, blockades or other international illegal acts against commercial entities operating with the country. The bill will be sent to the executive for approval and will take effect once published in the official gazette. Venezuela's political opposition, including Nobel Peace Laureate Maria Corina Machado, has expressed support for Trump's Venezuela policy, including the seizure of tankers. Meanwhile, the United States told the United Nations on Tuesday that it will impose and enforce sanctions to the maximum extent to deprive Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of resources. Venezuela, backed by Russia and China, requested Tuesday's meeting, the second held on escalating tensions between Washington and Caracas. The Security Council first met in October when the United States justified its actions as consistent with Article 51 of the founding UN Charter. The US Supreme Court on Tuesday blocked President Donald Trump from deploying National Guard troops in Chicago. Trump has claimed that the National Guard is needed to combat crime and to protect immigration agents and facilities in America's third largest city. Trump ordered troops to Chicago, the third largest US city, and to Portland, Oregon, following his earlier deployments to Los Angeles, Memphis, and Washington, D.C. The U.S. Justice Department had sought to allow the deployment while the case proceeds. The court said that the president's authority to take federal control of National Guard troops likely only applies in exceptional circumstances. The National Guard serves as state-based militia forces that answer to state governors, except when called into federal service by the president. The court, for now, have kept in place a lower court order of barring the deployment of troops in Chicago. So as Venezuela has passed a new law against piracy, blockades and activities to criminalize a broad range of activities that can hinder navigation and commerce in the country, such as seizure of oil tankers, This law enacts harsh penalties for US blockade supporters. Let's now connect with Akshay Dongre, who gives us more perspective on the story. Akshay, do you anticipate any effect of this new law that Venezuela is bringing about? Will it have any impact on the activities of the US? Because US says that it is a campaign to stop alleged drug trafficking.
Well, obviously, this is going to be a legal framework that will be there in Venezuela. That it can, even if it goes to the international courts, it can back it up. Their claims saying that they already have a domestic law as well against piracy and any kind of action if they take domestically as well against any kind of attempts to take away their tankers or hinder their oil trade. They can legally sort of prosecute. Though how much effective that is going to be against a superpower like USA, that is still debated, and we are yet to see that. But still, what we are seeing now is that there are certain attempts clearly being made by the Maduro regime as well to ensure that the kind of action that is being taken by the US has to be stopped at some point of time, because as far as the repeated attempts are concerned, they are just not stopping. Bella oil tanker has we are getting reports that it has slipped away after US tried to chase it for quite some time, trying to seize that tanker that was also carrying a lot of oil. But this cannot continue, and at some point of time there is going to be a flashpoint where there can be clashes, and situation may just worsen if a country tries to take away the tankers, steal away the tankers of another sovereign nation that is not using those tankers as drug trafficking, for drug trafficking rather, but for their own domestic trade. So that's a big question, that even if the US has problems, but what is the right way to deal with the drug problem that they have domestically? So is it not better to strengthen their own border securities to ensure that the drugs do not come in, rather than trying to punish a third party for their own failures to curb the drug menace?
Okay, Akshay, US has told this UN Security Council meeting that it will deprive Maduro of all resources. Could you explain to us what is going on here? Is it a campaign against Maduro, or is it a campaign against drug trafficking, as Washington says? What is the reason behind these deteriorating ties between US and Venezuela?
Well, there are three major factors, Tanvi. One is geopolitics, of course. Second is oil trade, perhaps the biggest one, and then third is the drug trafficking and the domestic drug issue. Let's come to the first and rather the biggest problem here. That is the oil trade issue. Venezuela is being seen by the US as its biggest rival when it comes to oil trade. That is the country with the biggest proven oil reserves. As far as the situation is concerned there in the region, Trump or the US administration would rather favor a more friendly friendly government in Venezuela that it can do oil trade with as well. Because if Venezuela becomes more friendly towards the US, then US can have, or rather US can cut all of its dependence in the in the West Asian region, in the Middle East region. So that is going to be a big headache removed from the US's foreign policy, where it has to rely still on the Middle East for the regulation of the oil prices and so on, where it has to be quite careful as far as you're taking action against terror groups are concerned, and other issues. But that's one issue. Maduro regime has been fundamentally opposed to the US because of various reasons, because of their ideological reasons. It has fostered closer ties to Russia and China. So that has become a problem for the US, and that's why it has openly called for regime change in the country. And the third, obviously, is the drug trade, where US has accused the Maduro regime of supporting the cartels and rather supporting the drug trade, that is that the Latin American region is quite notorious for. So these are the major issues, but the calls for a regime change so openly, attempts to do a regime change in a third country already sound quite illegal as far as international law is concerned, international courts are concerned. But it is what it is. US is a superpower. Venezuela is a smaller country, so that's sort of a thing that's happening, and that perhaps is the reason why countries like China and Russia are now more openly backing Maduro regime as well. That perhaps is the reason why it has still stayed where it is in power in the country.
Okay, there's a lot to play out here from here onwards. We leave it here. Thank you very much, Akshay Dongre, for joining us on the show. All right, in a major H-1B visa overhaul, the US will end lottery system and favor skilled and higher paid workers instead. All that and more on the other side.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. A quick look at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO is set to launch BlueBird Block 2 mission aboard LVM-3 launch vehicle from Sriharikota at 8:55 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Major boost to India's air defence capability. DRDO completes successful trial of next generation Akash missile system, paving the way for its induction into the armed forces. Bangladesh remains on edge with continuous violence and protests. India calls in Bangladesh High Commissioner in Delhi, while US lawmakers urge UNIS-led government to conduct free and fair polls. Tensions between US and Venezuela escalate as both nations justify their actions on the coast. US reiterates threat to impose and enforce sanctions to the maximum extent. The US Justice Department has said that a document making reference to Donald Trump, purportedly written by convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, who is serving a life sentence, is fake. The department said in a statement, and I quote, "This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual." Last month, Congress passed and Trump signed a law requiring that Justice Department make its Epstein files public. The large batch of documents released on Monday follows disclosures late last week, with more expected. The agency said that the FBI concluded that the writing does not appear to match Epstein's and that it was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia. Epstein, at the time of his death, was incarcerated in a New York jail. It also did not include his inmate number as required for outgoing mail. Moving on to updates from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian forces have pulled out of the eastern town of Severodonetsk as Russian troops wage a battlefield offensive aimed at threatening key cities critical to Ukraine's defenses in the east. The fall of Severodonetsk comes with Ukraine under US pressure to quickly negotiate peace in the nearly 4-year-old conflict triggered by Russia's invasion and puts Russian forces closer to the hub of Sloviansk. Sloviansk is a northern anchor of the so-called fortress belt of cities in Ukraine's heavily industrialized Donbas region, which Russia has demanded Kiev cede before it ends the conflict. Ukraine's general staff said that it had withdrawn soldiers to preserve lives and resources. Russia said earlier this month that it had captured Severodonetsk, whose pre-war population was around 10,000, a claim Kiev had denied. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called for additional pressure on the neighboring country to end the conflict. In a video message, Zelensky said that the key to a peace agreement is that Russia must not sabotage diplomacy. While stating that the Russian aerial strike targeted Ukraine's energy sector, Zelensky assured the public that electricity would be restored for Christmas. Russia's missile and drone attack in at least 13 regions triggered widespread emergency power cuts. Malaysia's top court is set to reach a verdict on Friday in former Prime Minister Najib Razak's biggest trial related to the scandal at 1MDB company, the state fund he co-founded in 2009. US investigators say at least $4.5 billion were misappropriated from 1MDB by the fund's high-level officials and their associates. More than $1 billion allegedly flowed into bank accounts owned by Najib, who co-founded the fund in 2009. He was found guilty of graft and money laundering in 2020 after receiving funds from a 1MDB unit. 2 years later, he became the first Malaysian Prime Minister to go to prison after losing all his appeals. Voted out in 2018, Najib last year apologized for mishandling the scandal during his time in office. If found guilty, he could face a maximum of 20 years imprisonment on each charge, as well as a fine of up to 5 times the value of the alleged misappropriations. Australia's lawmakers on Wednesday approved sweeping laws cracking down on guns and giving authorities the power to ban protests after the nation's deadliest mass shooting in decades. The reforms passed the upper house of New South Wales Parliament early Wednesday. The new rules will cap the number of guns an individual can own to 4 or 10 for exempted individuals like farmers. The legislation will also give authorities power to prohibit protests for up to 3 months following a terrorist incident. The government of New South Wales, where the shooting took place, has recalled its parliament to introduce tougher firearm reforms in the country. Late father and son, Sajid and Naveed Akram, are accused of targeting a Hanukkah event on Sydney's Bondi Beach, killing 15 people. Australia's federal government is at the same time pushing for new laws, creating an aggravated offence for hate preaching, penalties for those deemed to have sought to radicalize minors, and a new register of allegedly extremist groups it will become illegal to join. The head of Libya's armed forces and 4 other high-ranking military officials died when their business jet crashed shortly after takeoff from Ankara, Turkey. The wreckage of their Falcon 50 aircraft was located by Turkish security personnel in the Haymana district near Ankara, Turkey. 3 crew members were also killed. Libya's Prime Minister expressed deep sadness and sorrow on death of the Libyan Army's Chief of General Staff, Lieutenant General Haddad. Haddad earlier held talks in Ankara with Turkish Defence Minister Yasser Güler and his Turkish counterpart and was returning to Tripoli. The aircraft issued an emergency landing notification near Haymana, but contact could not be re-established. A senior Turkish official said that the plane requested an emergency landing because of electrical failure 16 minutes after it took off. Turkey has launched an investigation into the incident. A state trooper from Delaware and a suspect were killed in an active shooter incident. The shooting occurred at the DMV in Minquadale, prompting an immediate law enforcement response and the evacuation of the area. Authorities say the situation was brought under control, but both the trooper and the suspect were pronounced dead. Officials are continuing to investigate the circumstances surrounding the shooting and have not yet released further details. The incident has raised concerns about safety at public facilities, and the community mourns the loss of a law enforcement officer. Police and firefighters responded to reports of an explosion at Silver Lake Nursing Home in Bucks County, Pennsylvania on Tuesday. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro said Pennsylvania State Police and Pennsylvania Emergency Management had offered their full support following the incident. According to the authorities, 2 people were killed and 5 were missing after the blast, while Musulin Watson, who works at the nursing home, said that she and other workers smelled gas in the facility over the weekend.
This is a very, very tragic moment for this community. An explosion occurred just a few hours ago. There are investigations underway as to what caused that explosion. The PUC is here on the ground working with PICO. We believe preliminarily that it was a gas leak that led to that. The explosion was really quite catastrophic. We know that at this time there are at least 2 fatalities. We know that there are some number of individuals still missing.
On the weekend, we did smell gas, but because there were no heat in the room, so we didn't take it to be anything.
Tensions flared in Bolivia's administrative capital on Tuesday as members of the Bolivian Workers' Union, COB, clashed with police during a protest. The protesters demanded the repeal of a recent government decree that scrapped fuel subsidies and triggered sharp increases in transport fares and basic goods. Security forces sealed off access to Plaza Murillo, La Paz, home to the presidential palace and Congress, as hundreds of protesters tried to push into the restricted zone. Police fired tear gas to disperse the crowd, which included miners and factory workers mobilized for a second consecutive day. Authorities reported at least 2 detentions and 4 injured police officers. The unrest unfolded despite a government invitation to COB League to open dialogue. In India's Delhi NCR region, the Delhi Metro has been serving as a lifeline for the past 23 years. On this very day in 2002, former Prime Minister Bharat Ratna Atal Bihari Vajpayee inaugurated the Delhi Metro, making commuting in the capital easier. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the Delhi Metro has witnessed rapid expansion of the past 11 years. Take a look at this report.
December 24, 2002, a small beginning for urban mobility in New Delhi. Former Prime Minister Bharat Ratna Atal Bihari Vajpayee cut the red ribbon, and New Delhi, along with the country, was gifted a dream racing towards the future, the Delhi Metro. From Shahdara to Tis Hazari, just 8.4 kilometers of track and only 6 stations. That day, no one imagined that this modest start would one day turn into one of the world's biggest urban transport success stories. But the real momentum, the real expansion of the metro came over the past 11 years. In 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi took charge of the country, Delhi Metro's length stood at 194 kilometers, with about 140 stations across 6 lines. And today, in 2025, the Delhi Metro has become a massive 352-kilometer network with 257 stations and a web of 10 color-coded lines connecting Delhi with Noida, Ghaziabad, Gurugram, Faridabad and Bahadurgarh. While the metro network has doubled over the past 11 years, it now carries an average of around 6.7 million passengers daily. In 2013-14, this figure was just 2.2 million. The expansion of the Delhi Metro has emerged as a model for the nation.
आज देश में आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर निर्माण का महायज्ञ चल रहा है। 2014 तक सिर्फ 5 शहरों में मेट्रो की सुविधा थी। आज 21 शहरों में मेट्रो है। ये सभी विकास कार्य विकसित भारत के उस रोड मैप का हिस्सा है जो आज हर देशवासी के लिए एक मिशन बन चुका है।
During PM Modi's tenure, Phase 3 expansion of the Delhi Metro began, bringing several major changes. In 2017, the Magenta line was launched from Janakpuri West to Botanical Garden. This is India's first driverless metro line. Then, in 2018, the Pink Line from Majlis Park to Shiv Vihar was started. With a length of 59 kilometers, it is the longest line of the Delhi Metro. The Grey Line began operations in 2019, stretching 4.3 kilometers from Dwarka to Najafgarh and was extended to Dhansa bus stand in 2021. The Violet Line and Red Line were also expanded. But the Modi government's plans did not stop there. Under Phase 4, 103 kilometers of new lines and 83 new stations will be added by 2029.
आज हर कोई ये सुनकर गर्व करता है कि दुनिया का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा मेट्रो नेटवर्क अब भारत में है। 2014 से पहले देश में सिर्फ 250 किलोमीटर ही मेट्रो रूट था। आज देश में मेट्रो रूट 1000 किलोमीटर से भी ज्यादा का हो गया है।
As the Delhi Metro moves towards nearly 450 kilometers by 2030, one thing is clear. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it is no longer just a transport system. It has become the heartbeat of a developed India, where every station tells a story of progress and every journey is a new leap towards the future. Bureau Report, DD India.
Still to come on DD India Newshour. Indian stalwarts Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma make their much-awaited returns to domestic List A cricket in the first round of the Vijay Hazare Trophy. And Santa Claus begins his festive journey from Lapland's capital, Rovaniemi. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. The Department of Homeland Security in the United States said on Tuesday that it was replacing its long-standing lottery system for H-1B work visas with a new approach that prioritizes skilled, higher-paid foreign workers. The change follows a series of actions by the Trump administration aimed at reshaping a visa program that has become a pipeline for overseas workers willing to work for lower pay. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump signed a proclamation imposing $100,000 annual H-1B visa fee on highly skilled workers, which is being challenged in court. The president also rolled out a $1 million gold card visa as a pathway to US citizenship for wealthy individuals. It will go into effect on February 27th, 2026 and will apply to the upcoming H-1B cap registration season. The number of new visas issued annually is capped at 65,000 plus an additional 20,000 for people with a master's degree or higher. French lawmakers passed emergency legislation on Tuesday to keep the state running in January until a proper 2026 budget can be approved by the deeply divided parliament. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu rushed to submit the legislation late on Monday after lawmakers from both houses failed on Friday to hammer out a compromise 2026 budget text over divisions about spending cuts and tax hikes. The law, which was adopted unanimously in the lower house and in the Senate, allows the state to roll over 2025 spending limits into the new year and to collect taxes and issue debt. The law aims to ensure the continuity of national life and the functioning of public services, including collecting taxes and dispersing them to local authorities based on tax and spending levels in the 2025 budget. And now let's give you a review of the major global stock markets. Well, major stock indices rose and treasury yields were largely unchanged on Tuesday. US stocks rose and the S&P 500 notched a closing record. The S&P 500 gained 0.5%, while the Nasdaq Composite Index gained 0.6%. The yen surged after Tokyo signaled that it was ready to support the weakened currency. Against the Japanese yen, the dollar weakened 0.5% to 156.23. The pan-European index registered a record closing high on gains in the healthcare sector. Silver hit a record high above $70 an ounce, while gold also touched a record. In the global energy markets, oil prices ended Tuesday's session higher. You're watching DD India Newshour. Time now for some sporting action. India beat Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in the second Women's T20 International in Visakhapatnam on Tuesday, taking a 2-0 lead in the 5-match series. India restricted Sri Lanka at 128 for 9 wickets, courtesy of disciplined bowling by Indian bowlers. In reply, Shafali Verma smashed a 27-ball half-century to power India's run chase with a 7-wicket win and 49 balls to spare. Smriti Mandhana fell cheaply in the run chase, but Shafali and Jemima Rodriguez gave India a blistering foundation, putting on 58 runs for the second wicket. Both teams clash again on Friday for the third T20. A host of top Indian cricketers featuring Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill will make their much-awaited returns to domestic List A cricket in the first round of the Vijay Hazare Trophy on Wednesday. Kohli will be in action for Delhi against Andhra at the BCCI Centre of Excellence ground in Bengaluru, while Rohit will turn out for Mumbai against Sikkim at the Savai Man Singh Stadium in Jaipur. India's ODI skipper Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant, Arshdeep Singh, Suryakumar Yadav will also be in action for their respective states. The return of players like Kohli to domestic tournaments follows BCCI's push to ensure Indian cricketers stay in game mode by featuring regularly in domestic cricket like the Ranji Trophy, Vijay Hazare Trophy or the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. New Zealand cricket on Tuesday announced its squads for the One-Day International and T20 series against India in January. Mitchell Santner will lead the T20 side as he continues his return from injury, but will miss the ODI series. Michael Bracewell has been appointed captain for the ODI series in Santner's absence. Players like Jacob Duffy, Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, Will O'Rourke and Blair Tickner have been rested or ruled out due to injury management and workload considerations. The T20 series against India will be the side's final opportunity to fine-tune its team combination before the T20 World Cup in 2026. And now let's go live to Indian Space Research Organization's launch of the LVM-3M6 rocket carrying a next-generation US communication satellite BlueBird Block 2 mission from its spaceport in Sriharikota.
Tracking station closer to the liftoff.
अब हम उड़ान से 1 मिनट की दूरी पर हैं।
Stand by for the time mark. T-1 minute.
दर्शकों की जानकारी के लिए बता दें T-8 सेकंड्स पर क्रायो स्टेज यान से अलग होंगे और T0 पर S200 बूस्टर्स प्रथम चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू होगा।
We are 40 seconds away from T0. The viewers may watch out for the swing out of the cryo arms and the acoustic suppression system starts its operation.
Real-time programs activated. VSPP open. Minus 25 seconds. Minus 20 seconds. Ignition arms down. Minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Both S200 motors ignited.
LVM-3 M6 BlueBird Block 2 mission, a majestic liftoff. The rocket is beautifully searing through the bright Sriharikota sky.
Plus 20 seconds.
LVM-3 M6 रॉकेट का सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन द्वितीय प्रमोचन मंच से और अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ चला है LVM-3 M6 रॉकेट। दोनों ठोस नोदक वाले S200 बूस्टर्स प्रज्वलित हैं। प्रथम चरण का कार्यकाल लगभग 126 सेकंड का होगा और इस दौरान यह लगभग 6000 किलो न्यूटन प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर रहे हैं।
Very thrilling vibration at the launch base due to the thrusting of twin S200 motors.
Plus 1 minute.
Sharp to engine main auto.
बहुत ही साफ नजारा देखने को मिल रहा है। यहाँ उपस्थित लोगों को बहुत ही रोमांच का अनुभव हो रहा होगा। बहुत दूर तक हम इस यान को देख पा रहे हैं और मुमकिन है कि प्रथम चरण का प्रतिकन भी देख सकेंगे।
Each S200 motors generates 5,952 kilonewtons. Burn duration for present mission is 132.5 seconds.
यान अपनी उद्दिष्ट दिशा का निर्धारण करते हुए अपने मिशन को पूरा करने के लिए अग्रसर है।
We are 111 seconds into the flight.
यहाँ इसकी पुष्टि हो चुकी है। द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है जो कि L110 चरण है। इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है। अब दोनों स्ट्रैप ऑन बूस्टर्स और L110 चरण एक साथ प्रज्वलित हैं।
The L110 stage and the two S200 boosters.
Both S200 motors separated.
Just now we have had a confirmation of the separation of the two S200 boosters.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक द्वारा इसकी पुष्टि की गई। दोनों S200 बूस्टर को यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है। इसमें लगे जेटिसनिंग मोटर की मदद से उसे यान से सफलतापूर्वक और सुरक्षापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया जाता है।
We are 160 seconds into the flight. Current altitude 104 kilometers.
वर्तमान में L110 यानी द्वितीय चरण प्रज्वलित है।
Payload fairing separated.
Plus 3 minutes.
Closed loop guidance initiated.
यान से ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है। अब यान 123 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई पर प्राप्त कर चुका है और वर्तमान में यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत स्वतः दिशा निर्धारण कर रहा है।
The closed loop guidance has been initiated for LVM-3 launch vehicle. Hereafter, the rocket will use real-time data from onboard sensors to continuously correct its flight path. The payload fairing has been already jettisoned as the rocket has cleared the dense atmosphere.
तरल नोदक पर आधारित यह चरण दो उच्च प्रणोद वाले विकास इंजन की मदद से कुल 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न करते हैं। इंजन की अधिकतम प्रभावी क्षमता प्राप्त करने के लिए ईंधन और ऑक्सीडाइजर का खास अनुपात मिलाकर यह प्राप्त किया जाता है। इस चरण का प्रज्वलन का लगभग 200 सेकंड का होगा। इस चरण में यान में लगे एक्सेलेरोमीटर और जायरोस की मदद से इंजन जिम्बल किया जाता है और यह क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत अपने दिशा निर्धारण करता है।
First stage performance normal.
The second stage, L110, is continuing its operation. The two Vikas engines together generating 1600 kilonewton thrust. The tracking station at Shah Sriharikota continues to track.
जी हाँ, यान पूर्णतः सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ अपेक्षित पथ का अनुकरण करता हुआ उद्दिष्ट मिशन की ओर बढ़ रहा है।
Cryo stage authorization issued.
तृतीय चरण यानी क्रायो स्टेज चरण को अनुमोदित कर दिया गया है।
Shah and Port ground stations continue to acquire data.
L110 stage separated. Cryo stage ignition command. Cryo stage ignition confirmed.
यहाँ सभी वैज्ञानिकों के लिए ये एक हर्ष का पल होता है। रेंज निदेशक द्वारा भी इसकी पुष्टि की गई। द्वितीय चरण को सफलतापूर्वक बनकर यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है तथा अंतिम चरण तृतीय चरण प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है।
Now the third stage of LVM-3 rocket, the cryogenic stage, has commenced its operation.
Cryo stage performance normal.
It is thrusting nominally with 28.6 tons of cumulative propellant loading of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The engine develops 200 kilonewtons thrust.
LVM-3 रॉकेट के ऊपरी चरण जो कि क्रायोजेनिक अपर स्टेज कहलाता है, क्योंकि इसमें क्रायो ईंधन लिक्विड हाइड्रोजन तथा लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन का प्रयोग होता है। यह इंजन गैस टरबाइन की मदद से लगभग 200 किलोन्यूटन का सामान्य प्रणोद उत्पन्न करता है। इस चरण का कार्यकाल 648 सेकंड का होगा। इस चरण का व्यास 4 मीटर तथा ऊंचाई 13.5 मीटर की होती है। इस चरण में दिशा निर्धारण के लिए इंजन जिम्बल कंट्रोल और रिएक्शन कंट्रोल सिस्टम्स का प्रयोग किया जाता है। इस चरण में कुल 28.6 टन क्रायो ईंधन का भराव हुआ है और यह अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अग्रसर है। क्रायो चरण सबसे जटिल इंजन माना जाता है क्योंकि क्रायो ईंधन जैसे लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन जिसका कि बॉइलिंग पॉइंट -253 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड और लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन का बॉइलिंग पॉइंट -183 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड होता है। इस तापमान में ईंधन को तरल बनाए रखना और इनका कार्यान्वयन करना सबसे जटिल कार्य होता है, लेकिन भारत अब इसमें पूर्णतः स्वायत्ता प्राप्त कर चुका है। इस चरण को इसरो नोदक कॉम्प्लेक्स महेंद्रगिरी में तैयार तथा परीक्षित किया गया है।
The cryogenic stage C25 is powered by CE20 engines using liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. It delivers 200 kilonewton thrust and adds significant delta V of 3.89 kilometers per second by the end of its operation for the present mission. The stage operates on gas generator cycle. It works by burning a small fraction of propellant in a side chamber to power turbo pumps, while the majority of propellant goes into the main chamber for thrust. It's a highly reliable cryogenic engine operating principle. For the present mission, upper stage operates for 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
वर्तमान में पोर्ट ब्लेयर स्थित रडार स्टेशन हम तक आंकड़े उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं, जिससे हमें यह जानकारी मिल रही है कि यान पूरी तरह सुरक्षित और सामान्य प्रदर्शन कर रहा है और अपने उद्दिष्ट पथ की ओर अग्रसर है। LVM-3 M6 के समर्पित वाणिज्यिक मिशन में यह उपग्रह ब्लूबर्ड ब्लॉक 2 जो कि अब तक का सबसे भारी संचार उपग्रह माना जा रहा है, यह लगभग 6100 किलोग्राम भारी है।
+9 minutes.
यह उपग्रह निम्न पृथ्वी कक्षा में सीधे मोबाइल तक ब्रॉडबैंड कवरेज प्रदान करने में सक्षम है, जो वैश्विक रूप से दूरस्थ, ग्रामीण, समुद्री और असेवित क्षेत्रों के लिए लक्षित है। अंतरिक्ष प्रौद्योगिकी और मोबाइल की दुनिया में क्रांतिक तकनीक का प्रदर्शन करने वाला यह उपग्रह, इसे संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका के AST स्पेस मोबाइल ने तैयार किया है। यह उपग्रहों का नक्षत्र तैयार करने जा रहे हैं, जिसकी मदद से मौजूदा स्मार्टफोन में किसी भी समय और दूरस्थ क्षेत्रों में भी इंटरनेट सेवाएं उपलब्ध करा सकेंगे। इस तकनीक के लिए इसमें सबसे बड़े व्यावसायिक फेज्ड एरे एंटीना तैनात किए गए हैं, जो विस्तृत होकर लगभग 2400 वर्ग फुट तक फैल जाएंगे। इसमें संवर्धन कर पूर्ववर्ती ब्लूबर्ड उपग्रहों की तुलना में 10 गुना अधिक डेटा प्रसारण की क्षमता बनाई गई है। यह 4G तथा 5G जैसी सुविधाओं को सीधे अंतरिक्ष से मोबाइल तक पहुंचाने
+10 minutes.
में सक्षम होंगे और वर्तमान में यह ब्लूबर्ड ब्लॉक 2 एक बड़े नक्षत्र के बेड़े में शामिल होने जा रहा है।
The BlueBird Block 2 communication satellite developed by AST Space Mobile of USA is the heaviest payload the LVM-3 rocket has so far carried. The satellite is a part of the next generation of BlueBird communication satellites designed to provide space-based cellular broadband connectivity directly to standard mobile smartphones.
Cryostage performance normal.
This constellation of satellites will enable 4G and 5G voice and video calls, texts, streaming and data for everyone, everywhere at all times. It features a 223 square meter phased array, making it the largest commercial communication satellite ever deployed in low Earth orbit.
+11 minutes.
The launch window for this launch is razor thin. The target orbit requires exact phasing and there is a need to ensure global coverage. One of the important global orbital parameters is the right extension of ascending node or RAN. It is the angle measured eastward from the vernal equinox to the point where a satellite crosses the equator going north. It defines the orientation of the orbital plane in space. Two satellites with the same inclination and attitude but different RAN are in different orbital planes. By combining RAN spacing or the plane distribution and phasing by way of satellite spacing, constellations achieve near global coverage. To insert satellites into specific RAN slots, launches must occur at precise times when the launch site aligns with the designed orbital plane. This mission is being undertaken as a part of commercial agreement between NSIL and AST and Science LLC, a US-based company.
तृतीय और अंतिम चरण का प्रज्वलन जारी है। LVM-3 M6 अपने मिशन की ओर अग्रसर। LVM-3 प्रमोचक यान अपने यानों की श्रेणी में 5वीं पीढ़ी का प्रमोचक यान है, जिसकी क्षमता 10,000 किलोग्राम वाले उपग्रह को निम्न भूकक्षा में ले जाने की है। LVM-3 के पिछले मिशनों में भारत का गौरव बढ़ाने वाले चंद्रयान 2, चंद्रयान 3, संचार उपग्रह CMS-03 और वाणिज्यिक मिशन में OneWeb India 1, OneWeb India 2 मिशन का सफलतापूर्वक हमने देखा।
13 minutes.
यह इस प्रमोचन यान की 6वीं प्रचालनरत उड़ान है और तीसरी वाणिज्यिक उड़ान है। अब तक पूर्ण विश्वसनीयता के साथ सभी मिशन को पूरा करने LVM-3 रॉकेट इस बार भी सज्ज है LVM-3 M6 ब्लूबर्ड ब्लॉक 2 मिशन को पूरा करने के लिए। अब हम उड़ान से 815 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। वर्तमान में यान की ऊंचाई 526 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 6.17 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड है।
Cryostage performance normal.
Plus 14 minutes.
We are 14 minutes past the launch time. The cryogenic stage presently thrusting. The trajectory of the rocket precisely following the prediction.
तृतीय चरण पूर्णतः सामान्य, अपने अपेक्षित पथ का अनुकरण करते हुए उद्दिष्ट पथ की ओर जा रहा है और कुछ ही क्षणों में हम देखेंगे कि तृतीय चरण को कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त होने पर स्वतः बंद कर दिया जाएगा और तत्पश्चात हमारे ब्लू बर्ड ब्लॉक 2 उपग्रह को कक्षा में स्थापित किया जाएगा.
A relative velocity of 7.07 kilometers per second has been acquired so far.
Cryo stage performance normal.
The cryo stage is expected to perform till...
Cryo stage shut off.
And here we have a confirmation of the shut-off of
injection conditions achieved.
The shut-off of cryo stage and eager awaiting for the satellite deployment.
BlueBird Block 2 satellite separated. LVM-3 M6 BlueBird Block 2 mission successfully accomplished. Handing over to mission director.
अभी रेंज निदेशक को आपने सुना.
Block 2 spacecraft is successfully injected into the specified orbit. The LVM-3 M6 mission is successfully accomplished.
ये सभी के लिए हर्ष और उत्साह का पल यहाँ पर, जिसमें इस मिशन में ब्लूबर्ड ब्लॉक 2 उपग्रह को सफलतापूर्वक उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित कर दिया गया है.
We have had a successful mission of LVM-3 M6 BlueBird Block 2 mission. Congratulations to Team ISRO, Team NCL and the customers AST Space Mobile. Do stay connected for the address by Secretary DOS, Chairman ISRO Dr. V. Narayanan and senior executives. We sign off from the commentary box. Namaskar.
जी हम आपसे आगे लेते हैं सभी दर्शकों और इनके उपभोक्ताओं जो इस मिशन से जुड़े हुए हैं. आप सभी को बहुत शुभकामनाएं. धन्यवाद.
So the LVM-3 M6 mission has been successful. It has successfully placed BlueBird Block 2 satellite into low Earth orbit. The satellite is part of a next-generation BlueBird Block 2 communication satellites designed to provide space-based cellular broadband connectivity directly to standard mobile smartphones. This mission marks the 6th operational flight of LVM-3. LVM-3 has been developed by ISRO, is a 3-stage launch vehicle comprising 2 solid strap-on motors, a liquid core stage and a cryogenic upper stage. So it has successfully placed the BlueBird Block 2 mission. In its earlier missions, LVM-3 successfully launched Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and 2 OneWeb missions carrying 72 satellites. The previous launch of LVM-3 was the LVM-3 M5 CMS-03 mission that was successfully accomplished on 2nd November 2025. So, BlueBird Block 2 communication satellite is designed to provide space-based cellular broadband connectivity directly to standard mobile smartphones. So, BlueBird Block 2 has been designed by AST Space Mobile as part of the next generation satellite constellation aimed at providing direct-to-mobile connectivity. Unlike conventional communication satellites that route signals through specialized ground stations, the system is designed to connect directly with standard smartphones. And a joyous ISRO chairman on our screens now. He will be listing out the achievements, one more achievement to ISRO's hat, the LVM 3 M6 rocket. Dr. V. Narayanan.
I am extremely happy to announce that LBM-3 Bahubali rocket M6 launch vehicle has successfully and precisely injected the BlueBird Block 2 communication satellite in the intended orbit. This is the first dedicated commercial launch for a customer from USA, that is AST Space Mobile. Let me congratulate the New Space India Limited, the launch vehicle teams of the Department of Space, and the satellite project team of AST Space Mobile on this outstanding achievement and contribution for the global community. This is our 104th launch from Sriharikota, also the 9th successful mission of LBM-3 launch vehicle, demonstrating its 100% reliability. As all of you may recall, we had the LBM-3 launch just last month, 2nd November 2025. This is also the first time we have a back-to-back mission of LBM-3 within just 52 days. It's a great achievement and a great target achieved as per the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister of India. This was not an easy task considering the enormous efforts required, because it requires very close coordination among various teams at different ISRO centers, units, industry, launch complex, and the entire infrastructure availability. I take this opportunity to congratulate each and every team members for achieving this great feat for our country. Today's mission has brought yet another important glory to the India. This is the heaviest satellite ever lifted from Indian soil using an Indian launcher. This is also the third fully commercial mission of LBM-3, and the vehicle has demonstrated its excellent track record, including the Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3, OneWeb missions and CMS-3 satellite. This has injected in the orbit. Dear friends, I am extremely happy to announce the performance of the orbit what we have got is less than 2 kilometer dispersion we have got. This is one of the best performance of any launch vehicle in the global arena. With this mission, India has successfully launched 434 satellites for 34 countries. In today's mission, as I told, all the vehicle systems have performed extremely well. We have also, for the first time, inducted electromechanical actuation control system for the S-200, which is also successfully demonstrated for the first time. This gives us great confidence for the Gaganyaan program. And this achievement is because of the guidance, mentorship given by our elders, the robust review mechanism, hard and smart work of every Department of Space team members, our industrial partners, academia, for their outstanding contribution. On this occasion, let me also thank our mentors for the strong foundation made for us to stand great and accomplish this type of great missions. Also, let me take the opportunity to thank AST Space Mobile for having great confidence on Indian launcher and giving this opportunity for accomplishing this great feat. Even though a launch vehicle mission is a very, very tough job, today, the way the launcher has performed, that demonstrates the confidence and the single-minded devotion and hard and smart work of every members of the space activity. Let me congratulate all the review team members, audit committee members, and the entire elders, all the elders, and our family members on this great occasion. As you all know, the reward for hard work is more work. We are having lot of program in our hand, and we have to accomplish everything perfectly in a very systematic way. Right now, the orbit details are with me. We intended to achieve 520 kilometer circular orbit. What we have got is close to 518.5 kilometer circular orbit. That is the performance of this vehicle. With this, right now, we are having the leaders of Indian space program with me. So first, let me ask the project director and the mission director, Mr. Victor Joseph, to address the gathering. Mr. Victor.
Thank you, sir. So, very good morning to everyone. And once again, LVM-3 has risen to the occasion. Respected Chairman ISRO, former Chairman, Center Directors, senior colleagues, and all those attending here and online. Today, we have the 9th consecutive successful flight of LVM-3 and the 3rd international collaborative mission for LVM-3. And today, we successfully launched the heaviest satellite ever lifted from Indian soil, the BlueBird Block 2, and placed it accurately in the designated orbit. On this significant occasion, I sincerely thank our respected chairman for his continued leadership, guidance, and encouragement. And I also acknowledge the steady support provided by all center directors throughout this mission. I thank the efforts of NCIL team for their effective coordination, and I thank AST for placing the trust in LVM-3 for this very important launch.
All right, so that was ISRO team taking full credit for this historic launch, the LVM Bahubali launch vehicle, as it has been dubbed in the media. And of course, Dr. Veera Narayanan, ISRO chairman, also calling it a Bahubali launch of a Bahubali satellite, the heaviest ever placed into low Earth orbit from Indian soil. Earth Sciences Minister of State Dr. Jitendra Singh also hailing this launch, saying kudos Team ISRO for the successful launch of LVM-3 M6 carrying BlueBird Block 2. He wrote on social media platform X, with the visionary patronage of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, ISRO continues to achieve one success after another, reiterating India's growing prowess in space technology. Let's quickly go over to our correspondent stationed in Sriharikota, who has been witnessing this launch on the ground, Vinod Chandran. Vinod, with this historic launch, ISRO highlighting its commercial space ambitions and how?
Yes, ISRO, as you rightly said, ISRO has created history by launching one of the heaviest commercial communication satellite into the low Earth orbit. With this successful launch, ISRO has demonstrated its reliability and capability for launching much heavier vehicles. This is a moment of great pride, not only for each and every one of us. And upon the successful completion of the mission, the ISRO director wished the team members and everyone all very happy, and he also said that this launch has demonstrated confidence in upcoming Gaganyaan missions and other missions which has to be carried by ISRO.
Okay, on a more general plane and not just commercially, how significant an event is BlueBird's launch likely to be for India's space program in the years ahead?
Ma'am, as I said, the ISRO director, after the completion of after placing the satellite in the orbit, he said that this launch has given the confidence for the upcoming Gaganyaan mission, which India is planning ahead for placing the man on the space. And this will only give much more confidence not only to the ISRO but also to the entire space ecosystem, and also to demonstrate India's rising power in the global space arena.
All right, so BlueBird, a next-generation communication satellite, has been successfully placed into the low Earth orbit. It will provide space-based cellular broadband connectivity directly to standard mobile phones, Thank you very much, Vinod Chandran. You have been witness to this historic launch from Sriharikota. Thank you for joining us with all those details of the launch. Well, it's a historic feat for Team ISRO. Congratulations to ISRO Chairman Dr. V. Narayanan and his entire team there. That's all for this edition of DD India Newshour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.